Hello everybody, it's me, Tony Sonic, once again for another reaction video, and this time we are back with Nebula Theatre, the brand new versus show that I think started around at the end of October last year, and they're back with another episode, this time Subaru versus Kazuma, ReZero versus Konosuba. Now, to be honest, I know almost nothing about either anime. I only know that Subaru has this crazy ability to come back from death, and Konosuba, I mean, I've seen a few clips, but it just looks like the most lopsided thing ever. Like at one point, it's super funny, silly shenanigans, and at other times it's trying to be serious, but then undercuts it with another joke. It almost feels confused in what it wants to be, just from the clips I've seen. But admittedly, there are a couple moments that do make me laugh, clips I've seen that do make me laugh. But otherwise, I know next to nothing about either character, so I'm interested to learn. As far as like the fight goes and who wins, I think the common consensus is that Subaru wins. Though that is purely based on word of mouth. I have no idea otherwise, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what Nebula Theater cooks up for us today. So, without further ado, I think we'll just jump on in.
If you were lucky enough to have a second chance at life, what would you do? Would you continue on and become a better person than you were previously? Or would you return from zero, starting life completely over to create a brand new version of yourself?
Personally, I'm pretty happy with the person I am today.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change a thing.
I'm glad to hear it, man. But the people we are talking about today explore this question in interesting ways. Why don't you see for yourself? The stars of our show today are Subaru Natsuki, a spirit knight who can return by death.
And Kazuma Sato, the lazy yet quick-witted adventurer from Axel.
I'm Nils.
He's also not very bright.
We are your playwrights today, and we hope you enjoy this show filled with witches, goddesses, spirits, and magic.
Welcome, audience, to the Nebula Theatre.
Yeah.
Subaru was a boy who felt small in his own world.
Okay, died by having his balls cut open, decapitated, having his throats. Oh, jeez, that's horrible. Nicknames Barasu, Moppet Mage, Lawmancer, Emilia's Knight, likes Emilia, Beatrice, Rem, Mayonnaise, his parents. Dislikes the witch cult Pax Echidna himself, he's working on it. Ugh.
With parents who were beloved by his community, Subaru felt like he inherited shoes that he was unfit to fill.
Constantly being compared to his accomplished parents while he came up short, Subaru always felt like a letdown.
Aww.
Something needed to change in
That
Subaru's
sucks.
life to get him out of his often negative mindset. And one day, after leaving a small convenience store, Subaru's life would change forever.
Subaru was suddenly transported into this brand new fantasy world, fascinated by everything around him. The dragon-drawn carriages, the beast
Normally the transition is getting hit by a truck, but who knows? Just standing there blinking and you're there? That's crazy.
These strange writings. Subaru would explore the city with excitement. With a new world came new opportunities. Now Subaru had a second chance at life. A life free from the expectations his former world put on him.
That is until he entered a small alleyway where he would be confronted by a gang of thugs and then beaten close to death.
Such a terrifying experience would normally break a man as negative as Subaru. That is, if someone didn't show up to save his life. A silver-haired half-elf named Amelia, and her contracted spirit Puck.
This act of kindness, saving a stranger when they gained nothing from it, was something that changed Subaru forever. He was looking for a new start. Maybe Subaru could devote his life to her.
Amelia reveals that someone stole an important insignia, later revealing that this insignia qualified her to become a contender as the future king of the land Subaru was teleported to, Lagunica.
The sad reality is that Amelia wasn't an ordinary person, but a silver-haired half-elf who shared a likeness to the witch that ended half of the world, the Witch of Envy, Satella.
Amelia had many powerful figures ready to take her head just because of the circumstances of her own birth. But Subaru didn't know any of this. He just wanted to make sure he was useful to his new savior.
Subaru was someone who lacked purpose in life.
That's sweet.
Feeling like he had found that purpose in Amelia, he was always putting on an act of bravery and positivity, just so she wouldn't look down on him with pity or contempt.
He could not let that be the reality in this new world. Not to this beautiful woman who just saved his life. So nothing was going to stop him from getting her insignia back.
Or so he thought.
He's bold,
Subaru
but maybe a little mumbling
in this new world. But after entering a loot house in good spirits, he would mysteriously lose his life to Elsa, one of the most deadly assassins in the world. before he even realized what was going on.
Subaru would regain consciousness in the middle of the city where he had been standing earlier in the day. It turns out that Subaru has an uncanny ability, an ability which lets him return by death.
When Subaru dies, he returns to a previous moment in time. Think of this like a video game autosave.
Yeah.
Return to a previous
kind of
save
video
point.
gamey in
But
that
the amount
sense.
of time that Subaru would travel backwards and
It's implied that this ability doesn't simply reset time, but it destroys the universe and recreates it at the point of Subaru's revival. Wow, that's a little unorthodox compared to just simply reversing time.
was inconsistent. Sometimes he would come back hours before his death. Sometimes full days would be undone.
And just because Subaru has potentially infinite retries, he only has one mind. If his mind broke in one timeline, it would remain broken in every potential timeline that follows.
Ouch.
It was a truly fascinating but kind of horrifying ability.
You know,
Yeah.
Nick, if I had an ability like this and I knew I can save your life, I'd retry over 100,000 times to make sure you were safe.
Seeing as I've already
Oh, that's
done
sweet,
that
but
twice as many
I don't know
times
how
for
long you
I
would
feel
do
the
that
same.
for.
Oh, well, this ability seems unfortunate at first, but Subaru, being the tenacious man he is able to use this ability to its fullest.
Subaru would die to Elsa over and over again, trying various methods, speaking to different people, and dying in many different ways. That is until finally, he achieved his goal.
Subaru's goal was never to save himself from death. His only goal was to make sure his savior Amelia survived. Which is why, against Elsa, it wouldn't matter how much he died. He will come out on top.
And it took a while, but eventually Subaru started getting the upper hand, and we see his potential in combat.
Elsa is incredibly fast, able to keep Reinhardt, the strongest person in Lagunica, no, maybe even the strongest person in the world, at bay with her speed.
Somehow, Subaru can slightly keep up and even surprise Elsa in this confrontation. Through his slight martial arts and weapon training from his previous world, he was able to give Reinhardt enough time to deal a strong finishing blow to Elsa.
Even after this giant attack, though, Elsa persisted with one final attack to kill Amelia. An attack so fast that even Reinhardt wouldn't be able to save Amelia in time.
Luckily for her, Subaru was there to get in Elsa's way, picking up a club and blocking Elsa's final blow.
And I want you to think about just how fast Subaru moves here. I mean, Reinhardt is fast enough to fly up to the moon and back in a few minutes. Assuming that the moon is an equal distance away from our planet Earth, and this trip took around 5 minutes in total, Reinhardt would have to be moving at 1,120,000 meters per second. Now, to say that Subaru can move this fast is a bit of an overstatement. Realistically, Subaru would be moving about 25% of this speed.
In Arc 6, Subaru compares his and Beatrice's skill in combat to Ram. Ram is strong enough to keep Garfield at bay, and Garfield is the person who killed Elsa.
Which would be around 286,000 meters per second. Or
English,
about
please.
Mach 800.
Okay, thank you.
And then Subaru would nearly die again after stopping Elsa, but this time, he would be saved by Amelia's healing magic.
Subaru would wake up at a brand new mansion, home to all of our favorite faces. The sassy twins Ram and Rem, the adorable yet angry Beatrice, and of course his savior, Amelia.
This mansion was owned by Amelia's sponsor, Roswell J. Mathers.
He looks like
royal
Kefka.
With questionable taste.
This guy is very suspicious. Is he silly? Yes. Does he carry a vibe that he might kill anyone on a whim? Also yes. But Subaru made himself at home in this mansion and served his part with all of his new roomies.
And even though most of these people would take actions that would result in Subaru's death more than a few times,
Ouch.
the peaceful moments gave Subaru something that he had never experienced before. A place where he felt he truly belonged, and a family that he was useful to.
It was initially hard for these people to trust Subaru. This is because of the witch's miasma that surrounds him.
Subaru always carries the stench of the Witch of Envy, and every time Subaru returns by death, this miasma becomes stronger. This makes Subaru stand out to those who can sense evil auras.
Which is most people within Roswell's mansion, except Amelia, of course. Even if Subaru were to try to explain to anyone that he could return by death, the witch would squeeze Subaru's heart, making him physically unable to let anyone know why they sensed this odor on him in the first place.
Ouch.
But like any homie that smells, you learn to get used to it.
It's kind of like a
especially
Kenny
if you have to live
situation.
with them.
It would
Only
be here that
Kenny
Subaru
could actually
learned
say
all
it.
about how magic works in this world and what his magical attribute would be.
In this world, there are two types of magic users. Spirit mages like Amelia can utilize mana from spirits and the mana in the environment to cast magic, while people like Subaru have to rely on their gate.
Humans have a gate within their body that constantly absorbs mana. By channeling their magic through their gate, they can cast spells. This, however, comes with a risk.
The gates can be seen pretty literally. If a gate is misused, it can be broken, which is exactly what happened with Subaru.
There are 6 magic types.
Meaning
Typical
nuke
element
there.
types like fire, water, earth, and wind.
Yep.
And then there are rare types like yin and yang. Yin magic allows the user to cast debuffs and status effect spells, while yang magic lets the user cast buffs. Subaru was granted yin magic, although he only ever learned one spell on his own. This is Shamak.
Shamak is a spell that creates a
Okay, equipment, Guilty Whip, a whip made out of a fearsome beast called Guilty Low. It helps Subaru parkour and keep up with larger threats. Lethal Poison, that looks misspelled, but I'm guessing it, or lethal poison. Lethal poison Subaru keeps in his teeth that he will use to force a reset if anyone dies. Shamak, magic Shamak creates a large black mist that will cut off a person from their senses. Old Shamak traps an enemy inside of a black hole strong enough to contain witches, works best on those with witch factors, contracted with a spirit named Beatrice.
large black mist around Subaru. If anyone is caught in the mist, they will have all of their physical senses tampered with. This makes his enemy unable to hear or see anything around him.
Most people start out with the basic, hey, look at my cool little fireball spells in RPGs. If you ask me, though, Subaru was very lucky to get such an OP spell so early in his adventures.
Yeah.
Subaru would use this spell whenever he got into the slightest bit of trouble. Even when he was told he couldn't keep using his gates, else it would break.
Using only Shamak in return by death, though, Subaru would accomplish many great feats.
I
This
mean, with the
includes
right
saving
usage,
person
any
who
spell
would
can be
become tied
great.
for number 1 in Subaru's heart. The younger of the twin sisters, Rem.
Rem is an Oni, a powerful demon. After a horrific encounter with a group known as the Witch Cultists, Rem was traumatized. Racked with guilt and sadness, Rem felt like she was emotionally stagnant, making her heart feel like it was essentially stuck in time.
At a moment when Rem was lost within her own psyche, losing all ability to control herself in bloody combat, it was Subaru who pushed her out of the way and
Wow.
took a fatal attack for her. But why? He was so much weaker than her. She could have killed him if she didn't regain control. She didn't understand anything. All she knew was that she had her life saved by a boy named Subaru Natsuki.
Subaru had become
Wow.
Rem's hero, and she will protect and adore him for as long as her memory allows it.
Wow, this
That
is
being
re-
said,
this is
the
actually
Witch
really
Cultists would
compelling of
continue
a
to be
character
thorn in
journey.
Subaru's side.
You see, throughout Subaru's travels, these people were responsible for many of not only Subaru's deaths, but Amelia's and Rem's as well. This was completely unacceptable to him. He had to do something to help keep them safe.
But unfortunately, Subaru's insecurities would creep back up. He would act selfish and promise things to Amelia just to break those promises consistently because he thought he needed to be there to save her no matter what happens, which ended up with him embarrassing her in front of the most important figures in the nation.
When
Oh.
Amelia asked him why he tries so hard, why he does things for her when she doesn't ask, all he says is that everything is for her because she's his savior. But if you remember, Amelia never saved Subaru in this timeline, so she has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Ugh.
This causes Subaru to break, telling Amelia that she would be dead without him, and she owes him everything.
This drove a final wedge between them, causing
Oh.
Amelia to cut off her relationship with Subaru, cutting off his reason for living.
Aw,
Even
man.
with Rem still by his side, he felt alone and worthless. Yet again, he was trapped within his own insecurities.
Shortly
Ugh.
after this, everyone
guy.
in Roswell's mansion would be killed by witch cultists. Even with Subaru trying his best, he couldn't do anything about it. He died so many times, but with his current mindset, he didn't think it was possible for someone as useless as him to do anything to save them.
And so he gave up. Subaru would move down to a city named Kararagi with Rem, living happily ever after, leaving Amelia and everyone else to fall to their own fate and die horribly.
Maybe that would happen in another timeline, but Rem actually pushed back against Subaru. Of course, she refused to abandon Amelia and Ram, but more importantly, she refused to abandon her hero, Subaru.
For every negative thing Subaru uttered about himself during a mental breakdown, Rem said something positive, not letting him think for a moment that he was worthless.
Aw.
Subaru had tried to live for Amelia, but all it did was make him miserable. Rem taught him that maybe Subaru could just live for himself.
This one conversation kickstarted Subaru's hero streak. He would be essential in subjugating a giant witch beast called the Great Whale, killing one of the heads of the witches cult titled the Archbishop of Sloth, and released a barrier surrounding the sanctuary, the last of which he couldn't do alone.
In this sanctuary, Subaru met with the Witch of Greed, Echidna. Echidna was effectively dead, but through a pocket dimension that she created that contained the spirits of every witch excluding the Witch of
Oof.
Envy, Echidna gave Subaru not only knowledge, but perspective.
It was Echidna who taught him that his ability, known as Return by Death, was not a curse, but something called a witch factor. It is essentially a skill granted by a witch that can
Turn my death. Yeah, that was explained already. If Satella gets separated from Subaru, then he would only have a few seconds to change his fate. Invisible Providence, an invisible black hand that comes out of Subaru's stomach. This hand hits enemies or phase through their bodies and touch their hearts. Creepy. Let Subaru share his pain with other people or vice versa, but they must agree to this condition first. It can also be used to detect allies, enemies inside a certain radius.
vary in its abilities. The Archbishop of Sloth that Subaru defeated had the unseen hands as his witch factor, which sprouted several invisible hands from his body. After Subaru defeated him, Subaru had gained Sloth's ability.
Subaru would call this new ability the Invisible Providence, which let Subaru summon a single invisible hand from his stomach. From defeating the Archbishop of Greed, Subaru gained an ability called Cor Leonis, which gave Subaru the ability to detect his allies and enemies from anywhere within a certain radius, and share their pain.
That's
as well as
very
they allow
helpful.
it.
I'm gonna be honest, I know Echidna did end up trying to trick Subaru in order to essentially steal his body, but she did a lot to help him. Teaching him about the world, giving him methods to control other authorities, and even providing a safe space where Satella couldn't get to him. I think she ultimately did a lot of good, even if her ultimate intention was selfish.
Whereas I agree with most of what you just said, Subaru was actually not safe from Satella in that dimension. Somehow, even though Echidna specifically designed that dimension to keep Satella out, she still somehow made her way there, bypassing any restrictions that Echidna put in place.
The Satella that showed up in front of Subaru in that dimension was nothing like what Subaru remembered. Usually when Subaru died and saw Satella, she would just chant, "I love you," repeatedly. But here, she was able to have a full conversation with Subaru and proved her love.
Satella specifically controls Return by Death save points, always putting Subaru at a moment where he wasn't constricted to a single fate. He would never be put in a situation where he would die repeatedly with no way out.
This is shown later when Subaru gets turned into a child by another person's ability. Satella and Subaru's connection was severed, but Return by Death still functioned. It's just that instead of having hours to change his fate, now he only had a few seconds.
Subaru would learn to embrace this love, and found that uttering the forbidden words, "I can return by death," would bring Satella back to him even if she lost sight of him.
Now it's cool and all learning about how he returns by death and has invisible hands and whatnot, but it sounds like Subaru is more of a support unit than anything else, getting other people to do the
Kinda.
work while he does all the heavy lifting at the back end. He can't even talk about how many times he's died or how much it took to lead him to any of his victories. When you really think about it, he's kind of a jobber.
Oh no.
Don't call him a jobber when he's been through that
What's
much.
up?
Did you forget? He's like Reinhardt. If you say his name, he'll show up.
Say whose name?
Nah, fam, you insulted my
Oh,
boy
yeah.
Subaru? Ain't no way I'm allowing that.
Where did you come from? Who is this?
This is Jobber. He is a lawyer that represents the Nebula fleet, and he has a really bad habit of showing up whenever he's called upon.
Why?
Because I love to help. That and the captain said I could crash the show as long as you mention me first.
Do we get a say in this?
Nope. Anyways, I don't know how you forgot, but Subaru has more than just Return by Death. He was trained under both Wilhelm, who taught Subaru the basics of swordplay and combat, and Klein, who gave him a weapon called Guilty Whip, as well as nearly 2 years of training in combat mobility. And you don't remember Beatrice?
Well, actually, I was about to get to that.
Beatrice is an artificial spirit made by Echidna.
Artificial spirit can't harness mana without Subaru. She will go in low battery mode if separated for long enough. Nicknames Biko Betty, 400-year-old child. Likes Subaru, Kina, Puck, praise, books, anything Subaru likes. Dislikes Subaru's recklessness, being separated from Subaru, singing, being scolded, anything Subaru dislikes. Well, at least she's loyal.
After spending hundreds of years looking for a certain person to dedicate her life to, she had lost all hope. When begging Subaru to either have her dedicate her life to him or end her life, Subaru took neither option, telling Beatrice to live her life alongside him. He convinced her that maybe, just maybe, she could live for herself alongside Subaru. This ended up with them forming a pact, turning Subaru into a spirit mage.
Although some would call him a lollymancer.
I've also heard Moppet Mage.
The name doesn't matter. Beatrice on her own was able to do a lot. Remember Subaru?
Okay, let's see. Shamak, Ela Shamak, better form of Shamak that stops the person from controlling their body. All Shamak can open up portals and rouse Minya, El Minya, Old Minya. It restricts the enemy's movement. Marak can make the object she touches lighter than a
Urushamon.
feather.
Well, hers is better. She has an advanced version called Ulshamon that makes people lose control of their bodies and their senses. And Ulshamon, which can bend space and time to open up a portal and trap people in separate dimensions. On top of this, Beatrice can dispel curses,
Vita,
teleport
door
short
crossing,
distances,
infinite
increase someone's
corridor.
age rapidly, create barriers to defend herself or her allies, drain people's mana, and shoot purple crystals with a spell called Minya that will crystallize an enemy and trap parts of their bodies in time, causing the person to shatter into hundreds of pieces.
I know you're excited and all, but I spent weeks rehearsing this script, alright? It's my turn.
Sorry, take it away.
Minya comes in 3 flavors. Normal Minya, which shoots a few crystals, El Minya, which fires a ton more, and U Minya, which traps foes inside of a barrier so they can't escape the crystal attacks.
With Beatrice, Subaru can perform these skills and more. Jobber, you look like you can't contain yourself, so just take it away.
Awesome. Marak can make a speed weightless to move
I
across
love
the
that
sky.
clip
Vita can make an object's
of
gravity heavy.
Shinger just
and they
freaking
even
out.
created more spells together. EMM lets them bend space and time around them, making them intangible as long as they stand still. And EMT, which creates a big field around Subaru that negates any magic around it. And don't forget, if Subaru ever takes too much damage, Beatrice can also heal him right up. Man, these guys are so awesome. Dare I say, a perfect team?
I wouldn't say perfect, they do have some downsides. Subaru isn't really the strongest person around. He is able to shake off this attack from Rem, which would be about 7.5 million joules, which is impressive for a person, but most people in this world are doing anything from destroying buildings to affecting entire continents like Puff.
Who's Rem? Nah, I'm just pulling your legs.
Not funny.
But anyways, the crazy thing is that even if Subaru and Beatrice aren't super strong, they don't need to be. Minya bypasses armor and defense, and Beatrice's shields can block attacks from Roswell. You know, the guy who fought Puck directly. I'm not sure how strong that is exactly, but it is pretty awesome.
Nils, you got that written down, don't you? How strong is that?
Oh, sorry. It's hard to keep up with Jobber's energy sometimes. Puck is able to cover the entire continent in snow, which would take a power output of around 1 teraton of TNT, which is very impressive.
And because of the word of God, we know that in some scenarios, Beatrice could even defeat Puck in a fight. Not that they would ever throw hands. They love each other and all. But it shows that her abilities and defenses are nothing to scoff at.
They do, without a doubt, have a big
Seems like
weakness,
Beatrice is going to
and
do a
that
lot of
comes
heavy
down
lifting
to
for
their pack.
Subaru.
Precisely. Subaru has a broken gate, but through
Beatrice is a defective spirit, so she cannot utilize the mana all around her. She is reliant on using Subaru's mana to perform spells and making them completely reliant on each other. So they are basically they're basically Dust and Fidget. Or
they can
Banjo
both
and
use this
Kazooie.
magic. But this magic supply is not unlimited. Subaru only absorbs so
Only
much
magical.
mana into his gate
Well,
every
Dust
single
is technically
day. And if they
magical
let the
too,
mana
so-
build up in his body too much, Subaru will quite literally explode. This means
Ooh.
that although they are impressive, they won't be able to spam their big spells or they'll run out of steam pretty quickly.
But with everything and everyone that Subaru has at his disposal,
Okay, feats defeated 2 of the 3 great beasts, helped in defeating 3 of the archbishops, was instrumental in stopping a war between Wallachia. Solved the mysteries of plays one star. Kept his sanity. I'm assuming that means sanity. After potentially killing millions of deaths. Feats in other timelines. Eve married Rem and started a family. Killed everyone he was associated with. Tricked the entire witches cult. Romanced every female in the series. Impressive.
and possibly infinite retries with return by death, Subaru feels like an impossible force to put down.
No matter where he needs to travel, whether it be the war-torn country of Wallachia or the dangerous trials in the Pleiades Watchtower, Subaru will stare down death to make his dreams come true, and save his loved ones from certain doom.
Hell yeah, man, you guys got the best job on the ship.
Glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time you exited stage left, if you know what I mean.
Say no more. I'm going to join the audience now. I can't wait to see the rest of the show. Do my boy Kazuma justice!
What an upbeat guy.
Yeah, you guys are complete opposites, but honestly, it's impossible not to love either of you.
Oh, thanks, man. Let's listen to what he said. The show must go on.
Okay, so that was Subaru. Hang on, let me make sure this is still recording. And my microphone is being picked up. Yep. Everything's still registered. And honestly, that was a pretty decent, that seemed like a pretty solid, Subaru analysis. In fact, it kind of made me more interested in the character. I'm not usually an anime watcher. Like, it's usually just not my thing. But Subaru definitely seems very compelling, a very compelling character. Definitely more than Cosmo seems. But who knows? Maybe his analysis will change things. In any case, let's see what Kazuma and his band of useless idiots have to offer.
If you ask me, one of the greatest things a person can do is give their life to save another person. Our story begins with Kazuma Sato performing this great self-sacrifice, earning himself a spot in heaven.
After Kazuma dies, he finds himself in the dimension between worlds, being met by the beautiful
okay.
goddess of water, Aqua. She greets him with nothing but love and respect in her voice, for a moment.
Yeah, Aqua quickly changes gears after she tells Kazuma how he died. He had thought he had saved a woman from a speeding car, but what he thought was a car was actually a slow-moving tractor. And Kazuma hadn't actually died of a collision, he died after having a heart attack at the thought of a car hitting him.
I've heard about this, and it's just so pathetic. Like, ugh. I can't even laugh at that. It's just pathetic.
And then he pissed his pants. Man, that's just rough, man. I don't got
Insult to
anything else say.
injury.
That's rough.
Aqua
Our
continues to
hero,
laugh at
ladies.
Kazuma as she explained the options he has for his spirit. He can be reborn in Japan as a baby, be ferried up to heaven, or keep his memories and join a world of magic and monsters, with the ultimate goal of defeating the Demon King.
Kazuma, enthralled by the idea of having a
Okay, nicknames Creeperma, Kazu Trash, and names we won't say here. Wow, you called Subaru a jobber? Something tells me Kazuma's even more of one. Class adventurer likes Aqua, Megaman, Darkness, Iris, making money, succubus shots. Ugh. I tend to forget that he's also a pervert. Dislikes working with Aqua, Megaman, and Darkness, losing money, authority figures, was deathly afraid of people being behind him at one point. If you know, you know. First cause of death, heart attack. Other causes of death include kobolds falling from a tree, a very hungry Hydra, explosion.
amazing powers, takes up the last offer. Aqua then gives Cosmo a list of cheat items, which are overpowered items to bring into this new world, and she told him that he could take anything he sees, while continuing to laugh and berate him.
Kazuma, being sick of Aqua's disrespect, says he wants her to be his cheat weapon. Before she's able to protest, the deal has been made and they have both been forced down into this new world.
Upon entering this world, Cosmo
Gotta
and Aqua
stoop
would
down to his
descend a
level.
inner town called Axel, and granted new bodies that were now imbued with magic.
In order to learn what kind of spells they each could perform, they would head down to the Adventurers Guild and obtain their new titles.
Now, unsurprisingly, Aqua was pretty powerful.
Okay, nicknames. Powerful. Doesn't exactly match her reputation, but Goddess of Water, Lady Aqua, Useless Goddess, Goddess of Axis. Sarge Priest likes Kazuma, despite it. Make him in Darkness, Wiz, Emperor Zell, being worshipped, alcohol, fine dining, the Axis cult, dislikes spending money, paying demons, witches, and liches, except Wiz. She also has 2 party tricks, Nature's Beauty and 100 Hazes. And wait, there's more.
She gained the title of Archpriest. This gave her many useful abilities. She could heal allies, buff their stats,
Holy Magic Heal. Turn on dead, send souls in the afterlife. Sacred Turn on dead. Spell Break. Can negate spells and curses. Sacred Spell Break. Yet another powerful variant, but this time can break magical barriers. Supporting magic, boost stats, magic seals. You know, they seem like very useful abilities, yet from what I've heard, her track record with using them is not very good.
Spell curses, ferry souls to heaven with Turn Undead, destroy demons with God Requiem, can sense demonic and evil energy naturally, and even drive away demons
God Magic,
and
God
possess
Below,
individuals
God
with
Requiem.
exorcism? Damn!
Aqua, being the goddess of water, also has different water-related abilities. She can purify.
Since
polluted
Aqua is a
water.
goddess, her mana is likely unlimited. Cosmo has drained her mind to help others stay in fights longer.
Create holy water that is
But there's
extra
still
effective
more.
against
How does this goddess have so
water
many
spells,
abilities yet
even create
constantly called
water from
useless?
nothing.
And a ton of Aqua spells have stronger variants. When Aqua chants Sacred at the beginning of her spell, you know you're in for a strong attack.
Aqua's Sacred Exorcism can fire a beam of energy strong enough to harm the strongest demons in the verse. And Aqua's Sacred Create Water is way stronger than you may think. Taking the type of clouds these appear to be, their height above the ground, the thickness of these clouds, and the separation of the clouds, this one attack would have an output of around 623 kilotons of TNT.
These spells
Surprising.
can be boosted by using her scepter. This scepter will fly towards her when she calls for it.
More abilities? That's all, folks. Okay, finally, we can actually read this. Scepter, boosts any smell, feather mantle. Also has a rubber-like properties that allow it to stretch and inflate.
And it enhances any spell she uses while wielding it. It's just a little something she kept from being a goddess.
She also kept a divine treasure called the Feather Mantle. This item not only protects Aqua from
Konosuba
any status
official
effects,
memorabilia
but she is
handbook.
just immune from taking any damage. The downside is that she will still feel pain when she gets hit.
Not a
All this
recommended
stuff
item.
about Aqua is pretty great, but what about Kazuma? Last time I checked it, his name in the title of the episode after all.
Yeah.
Good question. After seeing Aqua's potential, Kazuma had high hopes that he would end up with a role just as impressive. Kazuma gained the title of Adventurer.
Now, at first, Cosmo was upset by getting granted what is the weakest class that exists, but because of Cosmo's creative mind, this ended up being more of a blessing than a curse.
Kazuma and Aqua were starkly different. Aqua had every stat maxed out except luck and intelligence, while Kazuma's stats were
No
at the
wonder
bottom
she
of the
ate.
barrel except for luck and intelligence. No matter how much Aqua leveled up in this world, her stats would never grow, while Kazuma had potential for growth. It just wasn't in his stats. However, he could gain levels and skill points rather easily.
You see, when people in this universe get their titles, they get gifted with an adventurer card. By having people teach Cosmo skills, they would then show up on Cosmo's adventure card, and he would have to expend skill points to learn them.
There are
So
three
it's
types
very
of spells:
video gamey.
beginner, intermediate, and advanced spells. With
Yep.
Kazuma's exceptionally
Very
low
video
growth,
gamey.
he stuck to beginner magic. Simple spells like Tinder could be used to light the wicks on the
Okay.
dynamite.
Tinder, freeze, wind breath, create water, create earth, intermediate spells, fireball, flash, lightning unlock.
Kazuma carries around.
Seems
Create
pretty
Earth
standard
could
stuff.
create
What are
sun
the
from
advanced
Kazuma's
spells?
hand,
Yeah.
And spells that create wind could create a strong wind that comes out of his mouth. By combining the two, Kazuma could blind
Other
foes by
spells: teleport, heal, create earth golem, drain touch.
spitting dirt in their
Explosion,
eyes. Not a
of
very
course.
humble way to fight, but looking at the hand he was dealt and his team, resorting to low tactics is a must if he wants to achieve victory.
Kazuma hired two people into his team after Aqua. Megumin, a member of the strongest group in the world called the Crimson Demon, and Darkness, a royal who took on the role of Crusader, having massive attack potential. Along with Aqua's insane powers, how could they possibly lose?
Well,
They're
Megumin
idiots.
may be an
That's how.
extremely powerful mage who knows explosion magic, the strongest magic to exist in that world. But all she knows is that single spell, and if
Yep.
she uses it, her whole body shuts down and she can't move anymore.
Darkness is really strong and really fast, but she put almost all of her skill points into defense. She can take massive hits, but because of her accuracy, she can't do any damage. It doesn't seem like much of an issue to her though, since she seems
This is
so
what happens when you pour
communicative.
all your energy into
Good
one
for her.
stat.
And don't
You end
get
up
me
you end up
started on
these
Aqua.
chuckle fucks.
She's a bumbling idiot who gets the crew into more trouble than she helps. Most of the time when Kazuma tries to direct her, she actively ignores this and just does her own thing. Kazuma somehow deals with all of this shit and still comes out with amazing feats.
Kazuma was responsible for being
Man, this is the most dysfunctional group I've ever seen. Like, you have a goddess with all these abilities that seem like they could be useful, but she's a dumbass. Her partners are dumbass. Kazuma's kind of a dumbass. That's why intelligence matters more than you think, people. Defeated most of the Demon King's generals, took down the mobile fortress destroyer, outwitted the smartest warriors, including, his name was like Mitsum Thang or something. I don't know. He wasn't that memorable. Used explosion and defeated the Demon King in grand sacrifices, has both made and lost millions of Eris coins, became not quite lovers with Megaman. Honestly, I don't think Kazuma deserves a lover.
the massive destroyer, defeating hordes of the Demon King's armies, and even killing most of the Demon King's own appointed generals.
Kazuma needed to be a lot more flexible if he hoped to keep up with any of these massive threats, so he taught himself a few more spells.
From a thief named Chris, Kazuma had learned many spells like Bind, which uses ropes to magically tie up nearby enemies. Kazuma even carries mithril wires on him, which can bind spirits. Kazuma can use Lurk to erase himself from perception, making it easier for him to sneak around, although the skill doesn't work on the undead. Kazuma can also use enemy detection, letting him keep tabs on his enemies without relying on any physical senses. And his favorite spell, Steal. This lets him randomly take any particular object he desires off of a person without needing to get near them.
A lot of these spells like Bind and Steal rely on Kazuma's luck stat. Think of this like a roll of the dice. The better Kazuma's luck, the better chances he has of getting what he wants. Although whenever Kazuma uses Steal on women, well, he somehow always ends up with their undergarments.
Oh,
You see,
jeez.
Kazuma is, he's kinda got no...
Come on, Nils, just be blunt. Kazuma is tragic a teenager with no filter. He's got hormones and shit.
I guess that's one way to put it. Although these thief skills aren't all he learned.
Kazuma taught himself single-handed.
Alright, skills and equipment, women's iron, short sword, chun maru. I probably pronounced that wrong. Magic sword, bow, it's a bow. Silver arrows, mithril wires, manatite, veneer.
Sword skills, which lets him wield short weapons like his trusty sword Chun Chun Maru, and he learned how to use a bow and arrow to keep himself safe at a distance when he fights. While using this bow, he likes to use an ability called Farsight, which, get this, lets him see far,
Yeah.
as well as the dark. And
Okay,
Snipe,
skills,
which
or
will
skills,
land a
other
bullseye
skills, yep.
depending on a roll that is based on his luck stat. From a friendly Lich, Kazuma would learn Drain Touch, which drains mana from an opponent.
Even with all of his tricks and the mastery he has over his teammates, he still could not save himself from dying in this world as well. After he died, Kazuma would end up back in the dimension where he met Aqua. But this time, he was greeted by a beautiful new goddess named Eris. She would
Ooh.
explain to Kazuma that he could not return to that world where Aqua and his friends were, almost convincing Kazuma to return to Japan as a baby.
But it's a good thing Aqua doesn't abide by those rules. She will actually revive Kazuma as many times as needed. As long as Kazuma's body isn't destroyed to an insane degree, she could bring him back to life. Hell, there was even a time where Kazuma was missing 30% of his body, and she still revived him.
Even if Aqua
Yeesh.
fixes up Kazuma's body, it is still up to Eris to send Kazuma's soul back into this body. But since Eris is Aqua's junior, she just folds every time and sends Kazuma back, even though it breaks the rules.
Kazuma and Aqua would live their lives in a cycle for a while. They'd be poor and work hard, come into a large sum of money and get lazy, before something crazy happens to make them lose all their money, rinse and repeat.
As much
Yeesh.
as Aqua wanted to return back to her role as a goddess, she also didn't want to leave her new friends. No, her new family. But she eventually had to make a choice.
Aqua left without her family to take out the Demon King on her own, which made Kazuma do something he's never done before. This made Kazuma put in the effort to grind for levels and skill points.
Kazuma went into a dangerous dungeon with two of the Demon King's former generals, Veneer and Wiz. They would take down enemies but let Kazuma have the finishing blow, meaning Kazuma would gain all of the EXP.
Kazuma was smart about this. Wiz had an ability that would reduce Kazuma's level to 0. Using this, Kazuma could gain levels at a rapid rate. And because
there's
his
a
skill
Konosuba
points
video
never got
game?
reset, he gained so
Didn't know
many
that.
skill points that he was able to learn intermediate and advanced magic.
Every adventurer in Axel would be overjoyed to teach Kazuma new skills to help Aqua, and someone named Dust even gave Kazuma a cool sword. A sword that, unknown to Kazuma, would let him survive a single fatal spell if he was hit by one.
Man, it must be nice to be given gifts like that. I wish someone would give me something with hidden abilities. All I got from Nils for Christmas was a pair of socks.
Yeah, a pair of socks that prevent your feet from either being too cold or too hot, literally keeping them at a nice, comfy temperature.
Wait, hold on. You being real right now?
Of course, my friend. You know I'm always looking out for things to make your life more convenient.
Man, I gotta stop underestimating you. After this show, I'm gonna get you a good gift to compensate.
I can't believe he fell for that. Getting back to what our audience came here for, with
Yeah.
intermediate magic, Kazuma was now able to shoot fireballs, shoot lightning, and summon golems. Kazuma can now also teleport to predetermined locations. With all of this, Kazuma was ready to finally face the Demon King one-on-one.
Kazuma would journey to the Demon King's castle, but it was still protected by a powerful barrier. Good thing Kazuma brought a big stock of manatite crystals with him. This means that Megumin could drop explosion after explosion without losing any mana.
Megumin would destroy the Demon King's barrier and kill any demon that tried to approach them. Now they can go save their runaway family member.
After catching up with Aqua, receiving some buffs, and having her seal a majority of the Demon King's powers, Kazuma teleported himself and the Demon King to the bottom of a dungeon. Even with everything though, the Demon King was still clowning on Kazuma.
Kazuma would summon golems, but the Demon King would create bigger ones.
I'm
Kazuma
guessing
would
this is
cast
all like in a
powerful
novel
magic,
or
but the
something,
Demon
or
King
hasn't
could
been.
tank or dodge anything that Kazuma was throwing at him.
Kazuma would have died for sure if he didn't decide to learn the skill Auto Evade, which will dodge any attack automatically based on the user's luck roll.
The Demon King shot a bolt of dark lightning at Kazuma, which Kazuma was able to dodge. Seeing as the dungeons are almost never depicted as having wide open areas, we can assume that the Demon King was around 10 meters away from Kazuma, which would mean Kazuma moved at about 44,000 meters per second, or about Mach 128.
Neither were having
Still
luck
pretty
putting
slow.
it down. And
Still
even though
significantly
Kazuma knew
slower
advanced
than
magic,
Super's
he
best
couldn't
speed.
actually use any spells
Scaling.
since he never learned the exact movements to perform such powerful magic. But there was one powerful spell that he did know the movements for, one that he'd seen possibly hundreds of times. That
Yep.
spell is, say it with me everyone,
If Kazuma couldn't kill the Demon King alone,
Yep.
then they would both have to die together. Kazuma would cast Explosion and incinerate both of their bodies. We don't ever see Kazuma's explosion, but it would be fair to compare this with Megumin's first explosion. Using the size of this bridge and the mountainside in this shot, we can see that this explosion was about 36 tons of TNT.
After Kazuma
Only 36
died,
tons.
He appeared back in front of Eris, but Aqua was here as well, crying in the corner. Eris repeated Aqua's speech from the first time Kazuma had died, that he could be reborn in Japan or ascend up to heaven, but this time, he was given a new option.
Because Kazuma had fulfilled his goal in defeating the Demon King, Kazuma had been granted a brand new body to return to since his first body was destroyed.
Kazuma took this offer, but he was also offered to take anything down to that planet with him as compensation as well. So of course, he took Aqua.
He took Eris. Aqua started letting all the hype and excitement get to her head, so to punish her, he took Eris down to that world instead of Aqua. Not like it mattered though, Aqua
Wow.
somehow transcended dimensions and came back anyways.
Well, in any case, the family's back together, ready to take on life as one strong unit. And just as a cherry on top, he registered a teleport point in the dimension Eris resides in. This way, he can bring himself or others to her whenever he wants.
Konosuba as a story from the outside seems to be an erotic comedy, but inside,
Yeah.
it's actually a story about a group of misfits with eccentric personalities finally finding a place where they feel like they belong.
Because at the end of the day, nothing matters more than those who accept you for who you are.
Even if you had to bear through 112 cringe jokes to get there. I mean, that analysis seemed neat, but I don't know. It feels like Kazuma's kind of cooked. Like Subaru seems to have the edge. Like even if Subaru and Beatrice not only seem to have a lot more useful spells, but it also seems like they just generally outstat them. Kazuma's luck is very high. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. We all saw what happened when it came to Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake. All the luck in the world can't save you when your opponent is just that heavily stacked. So, based on what they presented, unless I've seriously missed something, I'm probably gonna bet on Subaru. And honestly, I think I'm kind of rooting for Subaru because he just seems like a way better character than Kazuma, in my opinion. Probably anger a bunch of people in the comments by saying that, but who knows? Well, anyways, let the fight commence.
We've introduced today's stars. It's time to open the curtains and see how this story unfolds.
I hope you enjoy the show.
Alright. Steel Quest. Reclaim the Royal Insignia.
See, this is why I should have gone in alone. Your luck is terrible.
How is this my fault? And is this any way to talk to your goddess?
This is
Where
annoying.
do you think you were going with this? I wonder.
Way to go, Beiko! As for you thieves, I, Subaru Natsuki, will serve you justice. Just great.
Wait! You were supposed to use it on the girl!
You think I don't know that, stupid?
Enough fooling around, I suppose. Ninja!
Come on, Aqua. You got spells. Do something. Okay, bind on Beatrice. Oop, Black Hand.
Sacred create water!
Okay, there's something.
You won't get away with hurting Subaru like that, I suppose.
I suppose.
No. Oh, yeah, of course.
Freeze! Lightning! Won't let you harm Beiko!
Yeah. Get him.
What kind of a name is that? Here I thought Megumin had a weird name. Anyone who insults Beiko is in for a world of pain!
Ooh.
Fireball!
Drew blood there for a second.
Find its way towards heaven. Turn undead!
Oh no.
Beatrice! No!
Oh. Ouch. But I'm guessing Return to Death is gonna come back from this. Yep.
Despite everything, I'm still so weak. But with this power I have, That's why I took her hand.
Okay, let's try round 2.
This is why I should have gone in alone. You're like a... Damn it!
Mara!
Vehicle, no!
Minya!
Oh boy.
God Requiem! That boy is being possessed. Are you okay, Kazuma? Be careful!
Get ready, Vehicle.
Understood.
Corleones!
Oh boy.
May your lost soul find
Invisible Providence!
turn on down!
Oh. Oh dear.
Aqua, I have a plan. Buff me and take cover.
But,
Don't worry, Aqua. I've got this. Just please be safe.
Subaru, are you alright?
It's all part of the plan.
Oh, abyssal flame that scorches the void! Oh, wrath of heaven, shatter the silent by the contract of chaos and the will of the damned! Let this world remember my name! Explosion!
Really? Nope.
Sacred Celebrate!
Oh boy.
How was that?
Ooh.
Aqua, no!
Looks like she's been removed from the equation. Ooh, dynamite!
What happened was just terrible, Kazuma, but don't worry. Aqua will revive you in no time. Aqua?
Just
Oh.
how many retries was that?
Subaru, are you alright?
I'm A-okay! Let's go return this to Amelia.
Okay, that's how it ends? Hang on, let me see that again. I want to see that. Let me see that killing blow again. Cause I think I'm beginning to notice a problem with these animations. Okay, Aqua gets a BFR.
What happened was just terrible, Kazuma, but don't worry. Aqua will revive you in no time. Aqua?
Okay, yeah, he gets hit with the thing and then it's just dead.
Retries was that?
Subaru, are you alright?
I'm A-okay! Let's go return this to Amelia.
Well, I'm glad Subaru won, but and the fight scene was pretty cool. It actually got me really rooting for Subaru there for a second. I may need to actually check out ReZero. But I will say, between this and Kara.exe, you guys should probably get better at conveying the deaths better, because like the last one was a little hard to realize it was a death, but still legible. And this one was just like he gets hit with the crystals and then boom, afterlife, dead. Like it's very much like now they're dead kind of situations. Like I don't want to really compare this to like Death Battle or Triple F, but they at least communicate the deaths a lot more properly, and they let you realize most of the time that it's a death. Well, with Death Battle mainly. I know Triple F only has one episode, but even with the wonky direction, it looked, and they definitely conveyed like Starfire's death a lot more naturally, I guess. Whereas with this one, it's just like Aqua gets BFR'd, Kazuma gets hit with a bunch of crystals, and then dead. That's it. Like, I guess it's not a huge deal to some, but I do think it is an area that should be improved when it comes to these animations. Make the deaths more apparent, I guess.
This is actually a more interesting debate than I initially believed. To keep things simple, here are 4 important questions we need to answer. Firstly, who had better magic and skills?
That would
They
be
can both
Beatrice.
do very similar things. Both can drain magic, both can hide their presence, both sides had healers that could keep the battle going on longer. but Kazuma definitely takes the edge here.
As cool
Really?
as Subaru's magic is, none of it could harm Aqua since she's just immune to status effects and damage. Kazuma could see past Shamak with his enemy detection skill, and in terms of attack potential, Kazuma has Subaru beat.
Kazuma has Snipe, Fireball, Lightning, Backstab, hell, even minor spells could have been useful to Kazuma. Being able to blind people by combining Create Earth and Create Wind, or even using Tinder on the dynamite he crafted to create minor explosions. Not to mention, Aqua could just use
In Arc Ada ReZero, there's a character called the Spirit Eater. This character lives up to their name, and there's still an innate soul that Aqua could affect.
turn undead to ferry Beatrice's soul up to heaven.
Subaru only has one offensive option, which is Minya. He can remove Kazuma or Aqua from the fight with Ul Shamak, but that doesn't come close to the variety and power of Kazuma's arsenal. The advantage goes to Kazuma.
This leads us to our second question, who has the better stats?
Subaru and Beatrice are not the strongest fish in the sea, but Beatrice's barriers can contend with people who can affect continents. Neither Kazuma or Aqua could come close to that level of power.
Nope.
Even with any possible buffs Aqua could grant.
Subaru, without a doubt, is faster. Comparing Subaru reacting to Elsa with Kazuma dodging lightning with auto evade, Subaru is about 6.5 times
Yikes, that's
faster.
a pretty big difference. Okay, both Aqua and Beatrice have arguments for scaling the light speed feats, but Subaru and Kazuma would not scale similarly. Even if you took them at their best, however, Beatrice would still come out with better FDL arguments over Aqua.
Yeah, Subaru takes speed hands down.
But if Beatrice isn't actively putting up a shield, Subaru would die to almost any of the larger spells Kazuma and Aqua have in their arsenals.
But considering that Subaru's speed advantage would give him more than enough time to take out Kazuma before he could pull off his bigger spells, I think stats should overall go to Subaru.
Kazuma and Aqua had better magic, but Subaru and Beatrice had better stats. But who had the better teamwork?
Are you serious?
Okay, yeah, Subaru takes this as well. Kazuma
Yep.
is surprisingly a master tactician, making full use of a party that is essentially useless on their own. But the problem is Aqua.
Yeah, Aqua doesn't listen to Kazuma most of the time.
Nope.
She usually goes with plans on the fly, and they almost always backfire.
She's so
Hell,
obstinate.
her really bad luck stat could even interfere with Kazuma's high amount of luck.
Subaru and Beatrice are a tight-knit team. They have absolute trust in each other and work with each other flawlessly.
They're always on the same wavelength during combat and are able to communicate plans with little to no words.
They share mana, they share emotions. Hell, with Corleonis, they even share pain. There is no timeline where Kazuma takes this category.
Yep.
This just leaves the final question. Who had the better revive?
This is more complicated than it seems. Aqua being immune to pretty much all of Subaru's spells mean that they had no way to kill Aqua. And apart from Dust Sword saving Kazuma from one deadly spell, Aqua could always negate any effects Subaru could hit Kazuma with, including Minya.
On the other hand, Kazuma really had no way to learn about Subaru's return by death. Sure,
Yeah.
Aqua could see the witch's miasma, but that wouldn't lead to any meaningful conclusions.
Kazuma figuring out on his own seems unlikely as well. If Subaru kept coming back from death and started predicting Kazuma's moves, Kazuma would just think that Subaru has precognition above anything else. On top of already thinking that Subaru is a harem-having bastard.
If we were to look at either their potential win cons, Subaru definitely has a way easier outcome.
Kazuma's win con leads to a lot of assumptions. Kazuma would have to find out about return by death, which doesn't seem likely, send Subaru up to Eris in heaven, and have Eris ferry Subaru's soul into the afterlife.
Not only has Eris never Ubered someone's soul into the afterlife who's still living, but this wouldn't be a surefire way to separate Subaru from Satella in the first place.
Kazuma can teleport to Eris, meaning that this dimension would have to be on a similar plane of existence as their planet.
Satella has broken into similar separate dimensions before, and if Subaru utters his forbidden words, she will find him no matter where he is.
For Subaru to win, he just has to find a way to get rid of Aqua, which is harder than it seems.
Like we said, none of Subaru or Beatrice's spells would have an effect on Aqua. Well, none except for Ul Shamak.
By removing Aqua from the fight,
Okay, Aqua has resisted the spell Teleport before, but Shamak isn't the same type of teleportation. It creates a portal to another dimension, not unlike how Aqua got sent down to Axel in the first place.
Kazuma would be a sitting duck. All it would take is one good Minya to destroy Kazuma's body for good, leaving nothing for Aqua to revive even if she did find her way back.
But could Eris create a new body for Kazuma like they did before?
Kazuma was granted the opportunity because he defeated the Demon King, which was his whole purpose for being sent to that world in the first place. That courtesy would not be given if Kazuma died to some random person.
But theoretically, what if we remove Beatrice and Aqua from the equation? Would anything change then?
Not really. Subaru wouldn't have access to his magic, but he would still have attacks like Invisible Providence. And without Aqua, Kazuma would lose his access to his revives. Essentially, Subaru would have a wide array of retries to put Kazuma down, while Kazuma would stay down after a single death. In this fight, with Aqua's unpredictability, power, and revives, she was a great asset in giving Kazuma more
Aqua can steal items, potentially giving her a way to tamper with RBD. This skill, however, doesn't erase the ability from the object. It only cuts off outside forces from activating the ability. This could stop Satella from creating save points, but its overall activation, not its overall activation within a fight.
opportunities for victory. But with Subaru's teamwork, superior speed, and return by death, it gave him plenty of opportunities to claim victory himself.
It could be interpreted that Kazuma has win cons only in a sense that he can conventionally kill Subaru within a multitude of ways, but return by death will always undo those win cons. With Subaru's strategic mind given prior knowledge, he'll eventually guide the fight into an outcome where he comes out on top while Kazuma is none the wiser. I guess that's what happens when you have canon save files.
You know what? I'll give Kazuma some credit.
And no way for the opponent to get back.
He worked damn hard for his achievements, even when he was dealt a bad hand. But in a battle where someone could restart as many times as they'd like, Kazuma just had zero luck in obtaining a victory.
So as the curtains close and we take a bow, the last person you see on stage is Subaru Natsuki.
And Beatrice!
Oh yeah, right.
Yay!
Subaru and Beatrice.
Congrats to those two. Pretty good, interesting conclusion. They definitely tried to make things seem closer than they were. I can see some ways taking the edge, but it definitely feels like one of those situations where it's one opponent just has too many advantages over the other to truly win. And honestly, I'm glad Subaru won because it definitely seems like the most fitting way. Messing up my words. Anyways, cool that Subaru won. Let's see what the next time is. Thanks for watching. Yay! You got any next time or? Oh, Sean Chiplock. Yeah, I've heard that's the official voice actor. Is there gonna be a next time? Sorry, I hate to skip all these, but I'm a bit crunched for time right now. Alright. Next time on Nebula Theatre. Invader Zim versus Crypto! Yeah! Oh, this is gonna be fun. I love wacky aliens that are just silly. This will be fun to see. Alright.
Yes.
Yeah, ads. Get yourself over
Warm,
with.
crispy.
But yeah, that was pretty good. I do have some criticisms. Like I said, the fight could have ended better. And honestly, Kazuma's analysis didn't really give me much else to think about. Frankly, to be quite honest, I don't really think my opinion of him as a character really changed. But hey, I warmed up to Subaru, all right. So that's a very pleasant surprise. Again, maybe I'll actually sit down and watch ReZero sometime if I can. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the original video in the description. I probably should have said that at the start. I forgot to anyways. I'll leave a pinned comment to make sure you guys get the message. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.